Hey, everyone. Let's adjust this. Okay, let's do this. I actually am just popping on here because uh, a few months ago, I think it was, that I actually opened up our Bible study online. And I talked about peace, pain, and purpose in the pivot. And it was just really brief introduction and a few key points that I spoke on it, but it's still been sticking with me ever since. And I felt like I should put this out to you. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to talk about pivoting, and we're going to talk about how there's peace in the pivot, pain in the pivot, and purpose in the pivot. So, when the Lord had been dealing with me about this, He talked to me about some specific things that I had going on, and what was on my mind at that time. And I was talking about what I needed to do and discussing with Him on how I didn't have the time to do it all. And I talked about how some things that I thought I was supposed to be doing didn't seem to be working and everything. And I was really becoming stressed and frustrated. Many of you know about that? Becoming stressed and frustrated when you're trying to get things done. It doesn't seem to be working out for you. But anyway, the Lord then showed me what I needed to do, and to do what was next. And when He first told me that, I thought about how much time and effort I had already put into the way that I thought it should have been done, even though it didn't work, and having to start over. But even though I was thinking all of that, and you know, I just really was not excited about it. Let's just be honest about it. But even though I wasn't excited about it, I leaned into more of what the Lord was telling me to do. And then a peace came over me when I knew that He was really telling me I needed to pivot. I needed to change what I was doing and change how I was going about things. And once I accepted that it was time to pivot, and of course, I'm trusting in Him, so a peace came over me. And then I heard the words, I must pivot. So some of you must pivot. You're hearing these words from me, and you can make it personal and say, I must pivot. Okay. Pivoting means to change the way in which one does something. I want to briefly share with you that there's peace, pain, and purpose in the pivot. Okay. This is not going to take a long time, but it is something that you can come back to and watch at any time, or take notes as we go, or again, watch it later and take notes. But first, there's peace in the pivot. And peace comes when you stop trying to force it. And by that, I mean, you're no longer trying to force something to happen. Okay. When the peace comes, you're not trying to force it. You're just going with the flow and what the Lord is telling you to do and how He will tell you to do it. You will accept what you used to do no longer works. You hear that? Let me repeat that. Peace will come in the pivot when you realize that what you used to do no longer works, and you have to change. That's when the peace comes, knowing that change has to come. And when you trust the Lord, when He says what He wants you to do or to start over, and He wants you to do it differently, then the peace comes. Because He's not going to lead you astray. He's not going to lead you down the wrong path. He's not trying to set you up for failure. He is trying to get you to where He wants you to be. So once you accept this and the peace comes, then you recognize and understand that seasons change. Yes, they do. Fall, winter, spring, summer. That's forever changing, right? We don't have fall all year long. We don't have winter all year long. We don't have spring or summer all year long. These seasons come and go, and it's a cycle. Okay. So once I got to that place, I was at peace and excited about what the Lord was going to do next. Okay. So next, and there's the pain. That's not something we look forward to, right? There's pain in the pivot. And pain comes when we look at, there's pain in the pivot, and that comes when we look at, what we've done so far and how far we still have to go, or when we've done so much and having to scratch that. and start over, then there's pain in that, right? Because but we'll get a little more in that to why it's painful. But the pain at the pivot again is when you look at how much you've invested in something, and now you have to let it go or do something different, and it causes pain because you've invested time, you've invested energy, you've invested your finances, and that's not always something we're excited about. We're not excited about having put all of these things in excess, or even if we've done the bare minimum, if we're honest, and have to say none of this works anymore. You gotta just start over. It can be painful. But the pain in the pivot happens when you get out of when you have to get out of your comfort zone and get out of your comfort zone and have to do what's unfamiliar to you. That's painful. That's painful because a lot of people live in their comfort zone. It doesn't matter what opportunity comes up. No, I can't do it because it's unfamiliar to them, because they don't want to challenge themselves. They love the comfort zone. Although they know that to get what they want to get to where they want to be used of God the way he wants to use them, they have to come out of their comfort zone. They still stay there because it feels good. It's comfortable. That's why it's called the comfort zone. But anyway, that's a painful place for some people, having to leave their comfort zone. And there can be doubt and uncertainty leading to pain in the pivot. Because sometimes when God tells you to do something, when you have to change something, you don't immediately know why he's having you go left when you thought you should go right, or right versus left, whichever way that goes, the opposite, vice versa. There's uncertainty when, he may have you leave a job, but you don't know where you're going next to get those bills paid. There's pain in that. But I've got to tell you, I've invested lots of time and energy and finances into some things, and the Lord said, scratch it. A lot of times, if I'm honest, it's things I did because I didn't seek him first. That's not his fault. That's mine. But then there are some times that I have been obedient and going great, doing what God would say do, and he'll say, stop. Stop. It's over. I don't immediately have an answer as to why. Things are going good, God, but you want me to stop? Yeah. And I have to be obedient and do it. Then there are times that I'm going good and he'll say, okay, do this or do that. And I'm like, but Lord, it's going good. It's right where we are, right? It's going good. It's feeling good. It's good. But God said, change it. I got to change it. Sometimes that can be painful for people when they have to let something go or change something up that really seems to be working. It is working, but for whatever purpose God has, it has to stop or it has to change. So there's pain with that pivot. But I want you to understand that when a change comes, when that pivot happens, God will give you provision in that pivot. He will give you what you need in order to do what you must do. He is your source. Trust your source. Finally, there's always purpose in the pivot. Yep. When God instructs you to change something, it's for a reason. Please remember this. Everything he does has purpose. People that know me know I say this all the time. Everything God does has purpose. Everything he created has purpose. He doesn't do things just to be doing them, just because. There's a reason. There's a purpose for it. And he wants to promote you. A pivot might be required when he wants to promote you. So that comfort zone some of you like to live in, some of you are just holding on to, think that you're doing good there. You might just stay there if you don't give in to the pivot. If you're trying to get to, let's say you're on a job and you're trying to get to the next level, it's going to require you to do more than what you're doing in that level. So for a promotion, sometimes it's going to require that you change. It's going to require that you do something different. It's going to require you to come out of your comfort zone. In order to reach people with what the Lord has given you might require a change. I can talk all about that from personal experience all day long. But all I'll tell you is I could not do what I'm doing right here, right now, had I stayed in my comfort zone. I could not have reached as many women and men as I have through ministry if I didn't put myself out there. If I didn't be obedient to the Lord when he told me the very first time I used social media at all was to be a voice for the kingdom of God. I was obedient. I was obedient. I had to come out of my comfort zone. I had to flow with a pivot. And there was purpose in the pivot. To be placed on a new path, assignment, or journey, he will instruct you to pivot. At first, when the Lord said pivot, I wanted to give him a rundown on why I thought there should be no change, why everything was working. I'm trying to tell the Lord what to do. Like, I'm the one that can see all things and that I know all things. Yeah, I thought I could bargain a little bit and negotiate, I guess, but we know how that turned out, don't we? But I had to make an instant self-check and remind myself it's not about me and my agenda, but about God and his kingdom and kingdom agenda. The truth of the matter is most of us hate change. Let's just be honest. Most of us hate change. But instead of viewing a pivot as a negative disruption to your life and your plans, see the potential for new and rewarding purpose within the change. Let that sink in. So, where do you fall at in this, in this season of change or the season of pivot? Are you at peace with pivoting? Are you in a painful place with pivoting? Are you recognizing that there's purpose in the pivot? Only you know, but get with God, because there's always ultimately a purpose in the pivot. So instead of trying to fight what God is wanting to do in you and through you and for you, flow with him. Even if it feels like it's impossible what he's calling you to do, remember that he is a God of possibilities. Yes, there's peace, pain, and purpose in the pivot. Blessings now.